In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Atlético Nacional and América de Cali took over the Colombian League and won championships, but were tied to prominent cartel leaders. América de Cali were tied to the Orjuela brothers from the Cali cartel, and Atlético Nacional was tied to Pablo Escobar. The influx of narco soccer money used to back these Colombian soccer teams allowed the clubs to retain their best talent, as well as bring in top players from around the world. Soccer in Colombia thrived, but it became an ego battle between drug lords who used these clubs essentially as their toys. After Pablo Escobar's favorite team, Atlético Nacional, lost a match against América de Cali in 1989, Escobar had the referee killed. The Colombian Soccer Federation immediately canceled the 1989 season thereafter. Despite the Colombian Soccer League canceling its season, Atlético Nacional went on to win the Continental Championship, Copa Libertadores, after beating Paraguayan side Olimpia in penalty kicks. The Colombian national team rose to prominence in the years leading up to the 1994 World Cup. Between 1991 and 1993, they won 25 of 26 matches, including a 5-0 beatdown of an international soccer powerhouse, Argentina. As favored as they were, however, the team was under a ton of pressure. A little more than 6 months prior to the 1994 World Cup, Pablo Escobar was killed by the Colombian military. Escobar's death unleashed a state of civil war of sorts. It was channeled through him and his cartel. After his death, there was no order to keep low-end criminals in check. Weeks before the tournament, Colombian midfielder Chonto Herrera's son was kidnapped. Then, after Colombia was upset in the first group stage match against Romania, Chonto Herrera's brother was killed in a car crash. The team had also been receiving death threats. More than half of the Colombian national team were players who played for clubs financially backed by narco traffickers, so many expect there was significant vested interest. The next match on the slate is against the World Cup host, the United States. As if it were a nightmare, the match could not have started any worse for the Colombians. A cross from John Harkes was deflected by Andrés Escobar into his own net in the 34th minute. 17 minutes later, the U.S. tacked on another to make it 2-0. Colombia would lose 2-1 after scoring its lone goal in the 90th minute. Losing 2 group matches in a row, Colombia had been effectively eliminated from the World Cup, and Andrés Escobar's own goal would end up being a fatal mistake. After the game, Andrés Escobar wrote a column in a local newspaper, El Tiempo, calling for calm. "Please, let's maintain respect," Andrés Escobar wrote. "A big hug for everyone, and let me say it was a phenomenal opportunity and experience, a rare one, which I've never felt before in my life." In closing, Andrés Escobar said, "Life doesn't end here." Andrés Escobar returned to Colombia days after the national team was eliminated from the World Cup. On July 1, 1994, he went to the El Poblado district of Medellin, ending up in a nightclub with 3 friends. While he was at the club, Andrés Escobar was taunted by convicted drug traffickers Santiago and Pedro Galán. The Galán brothers reportedly shouted goal at Escobar. Andrés Escobar asked the Galán brothers to stop, was later separated from his friends, and went back to his car at approximately 3 a.m. on July 2, 1994. The Galán brothers and their bodyguard, Humberto Muñoz, were waiting for Andrés Escobar. Another incident escalated between the Galán brothers and Andrés Escobar, which led to Muñoz shooting the soccer star in the head 6 times. Muñoz reportedly shouted goal after every shot, echoing the 6 times the Colombian commentator repeated the word after the fateful own goal in the World Cup. Muñoz was arrested and sentenced to 43 years in prison, which was later reduced to 26 years. He ended up serving less than 12 and was let out of prison in 2005. After Andrés Escobar was killed outside that nightclub, his murder was met with outrage throughout the country and the world. It is estimated nearly 120,000 people attended Andrés Escobar's funeral on July 3, 1994. The anniversary of his death is still marked at matches in Colombia each year. Colombian soccer regressed for decades. Colombia did qualify for the 1998 World Cup but was again eliminated in the group stage round. They missed the next 3 World Cups. In 2011, the country fell to its worst FIFA ranking ever. It seemed like 1994's tragedy had served as a lesson learned until the 2018 World Cup. Midfielder Carlos Sanchez received death threats following his team's loss against Japan at the 2018 FIFA World Cup, which prompted Colombian authorities to open an investigation. Sanchez received a red card just minutes into the match for a handball in the penalty area while trying to block a shot. The death threats launched at Sanchez served as a chilling reminder of Andrés Escobar's murder. The threats led Escobar's brother, Santiago, to speak out. "As a brother who has gone through this, I know what must be going through the Sanchez family's heads, and I wouldn't want anyone to go through that. Carlos must be feeling both sad for the mistake he made and very afraid, and his family too. My brother never received any threats. They just shot him dead in the most cowardly way, Santiago Escobar said. The fact that people are still allowed to say these things on social network sites, even threaten him with death, shows me that nothing good came out of Andres' death. Nothing was learned. Comment your thoughts and also subscribe to the channel.